we say hello to Chris Low of ESPN.com. A busy day covering the arrival of Hugh Freeze at Auburn, back in the SEC, now as Auburn's head coach. Chris, thanks for making time for us. Were you surprised? What did you think of the news and the decision for Auburn to go bring Hugh Freeze back to the conference?
Well, I wasn't surprised. It was Freeze and Kiffin all along. Those are the two that they narrowed it down to. And, I think there was some thought out there that Kiffin was choice A. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think they both were right there at the top of Auburn's list because, let's be honest, they both have coached in the SEC. They recruited at a high level. They are both offensive guys. They both are really good quarterback developers. So I think they checked a lot of the boxes that Auburn was looking for. And I think there was some concern, obviously. Anytime you do a coach search, you want to make sure that you vet the candidates. And clearly with Hugh's past at Ole Miss and some of the things that happened there, being fired, that's something that was going to stick. So when you hire a coach like that, you better go out and do your due diligence. And, of course, more recently, you had the lady that was part of the sexual assault lawsuit at Liberty wanting to know why, Freeze had DM'd her back in the summer. And so that's caught a lot of traction here lately. So there was a lot of things I think Freeze knew it was going to be out there. Auburn knew were going to be out there. And I think, again, they felt like that he was the guy. And even with some of the backlash, they were willing to accept it. And that they feel like he's the guy that can get Auburn back to being relevant again and winning championships.
There's been talk, Chris, about, and I'm not saying it's incredible talk, but there's been rumors flying here and there about the SEC over the last couple of years not wanting Hugh Freeze back in the league. Any truth to that? And if so, why now?
Yeah, I do think there was truth to that when he left Ole Miss, Jason. I think it was communicated to Hugh from Greg Sankey. Now, I don't think there was ever any kind of edict that was handed down by Greg Sankey, but I think Greg told Hugh and made it clear to everybody else in the conference that his strong preference was for Hugh to leave the SEC, go somewhere else and coach outside the conference, have success, not have any other issues, and if that were the case, after Ole Miss was off probation, then he would welcome him. Well, I don't think any commissioner would want a coach being fired and leaving his school on probation and then going to another league rival and coaching against that school while they were on probation. I think that was Sankey's concern all along. I think he made that clear to Hugh. He made it clear to everybody in the SEC. And, Hugh was out of coaching for 2 years. He didn't coach in 17 or 18 and then got the job at Liberty, did a terrific job, and here we are. So I think, Hugh listened, the rest of the league listened, and I don't think there was any concern or any at this time. I don't think there's any concern whatsoever from Greg Sankey with Hugh coming back into the league.
Chris Low is with us, ESPN.com, covering the world of college football. Chris, a couple weeks ago, Tennessee had a very disappointing loss against South Carolina. What did you think of the response, Joe Milton at quarterback, the way the defense responded, though, and the overall showing in a 56-0 win against Vanderbilt to close things out, considering what had happened the week before?
I guess my first thought is, where was that a week earlier in Columbia, South Carolina? I think that's probably every Tennessee fan's thought, that if they can play to that level, and I think South Carolina's a better football team than certainly Vanderbilt. We saw that last week when Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks went to Clemson and won. But, gosh, I think any kind of effort close to that, they would have won by 2 touchdowns at South Carolina, certainly on defense. I don't blame the offense for what happened in Columbia. But, no, I think it says a lot. Josh talked a lot about the culture, and the culture inside that locker room had been questioned after the week leading up to the South Carolina debacle and what happened or didn't happen, and, any kind of altercation that happened on that Thursday and the situation with Banks and back on. So, it certainly wasn't lottie-dottie that week going into South Carolina. But I think it also says that it's a program that has a lot of pride, and they were eviscerated by a lot of people, the media, even some fans, and they pick themselves back up off the ground, and they go to Vanderbilt against a team that was playing for a lot. Vanderbilt was playing for a bowl. Had won 2 games in a row against SEC teams, and Tennessee just totally outclassed them in every capacity. And I think the fact that they held them scoreless on defense tells you a lot about that defense and their scars and their bruises and the fact that they wanted to make a loud and convincing statement there in the regular season. I'd say it's safe to say they did that.
Where do you expect Tennessee to play its bowl game?
Well, the way it works is with Georgia going to the playoff, the Sugar Bowl gets the highest ranked team remaining in the SEC. So I guess it gets down to whether Alabama or Tennessee's ranked the highest. In the final rankings, it's the committee's rankings now, not the AP ranking. But when the committee does its final rankings next Tuesday, or I guess it's Monday, is Tennessee ranked higher or is Alabama ranked higher? So whoever's ranked the highest will go to the Sugar Bowl. I think if it's not the Sugar Bowl, let's say Bama's ranked ahead of Tennessee, which I understand a lot of Tennessee fans would not be real happy about, then I think the Orange Bowl would be the next most likely possibility. I've seen projections of Tennessee and Clemson in the Orange Bowl, and which I think would be a really cool matchup. You got the Battle of Orange. Hey, Swain, here's one for you. Maybe if that happens, Tennessee could wear those same orange helmets. And Clemson and Tennessee would both look alike with their helmets in that game. And nobody, if you just were looking at the helmets, you would know who was who.
No, I'm
what do you
good.
think about that?
I'm good. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll pass.
No, I think they're in good shape. I think Tennessee's in good shape for the bowl game. It could be, maybe the Sugar. If Bama is ranked ahead, then I think they've got an excellent chance. I would really be very surprised if it's not the Orange Bowl.
Chris, last thing, we'll get you out of here. Chris Low, ESPN.com. There's a lot that happens in the month of December in the world of college football. How wild will the transfer portal part of December be this month, you think, this upcoming month?
Man, Josh, I can't begin to describe what a circus it's going to be. You'll have people jumping in that portal in and out. You'll have teams. I think you've almost got to have a personnel portal director now, maybe 2 or 3 of those guys. In your football program to sort of keep up with it, not only looking to see what's out there, but trying to keep guys from jumping in the portal from your own team. It's going to be new. It's going to be new for fans. It's going to be new for coaches. Players, by and large, always think the grass is a little bit greener on the other side. It isn't always the case, but let's be honest. There's a plan or a pathway now for players to jump in that portal, to see in the world NIL what they can get, what kind of deals they can get at schools X, Y, and Z. And I think that's going to be the norm over the next couple of years. And people better buckle up and be braced because that's exactly where we're headed.
Remember, coaches, no tampering.
Yeah, right. Right, Swain. Come on, man. That doesn't happen. That would never happen with the portal. I'll tell you what's going to happen, though. You're going to have a lot of middle men, a lot of quote-unquote attorneys, NIL attorneys, and agents who are going to snuggle up to these guys, and they're going to say, hey, get in the portal, and go ahead and get in the portal, and I'm going to check with this school, and this school, and that school, and I'm going to see what kind of deal I can get you. So just hang tight, and I'll get back to you. That's what's going on, and that's what it's going to really be prevalent here over the next month or two.
The regular season is over, so now we enter the busy season of college football. Chris Low covering it for ESPN.com, including the news today. Hugh Freeze introduced as the head coach at Auburn. Chris, thanks for taking time to join us today. We really appreciate it.
You bet, guys. Take care.